usually have something witty to say during these breaks, but not today.
Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour. Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
Valentine's Day has come and gone by the time this comes out to your ears, but here in the studio right now, it is not yet Valentine's Day, so we're all considering things like flowers and chocolates and the various things we're going to buy those people who kiss us. However, there may be a chance that those people who do kiss us would rather those things be replaced with two ignorant, uninformed, ill-advised, self-deprecating morons ranting about opinions they have no right to have, which are probably wrong and absolutely do not matter. Our goal here at Another Wasted Hour is to convince you that where we hail from, just outside Washington, D.C., is not just a city of politics and scandals, but one brimming with art, music, and culture. As impossible as that may seem. So listeners, now that you know why you're here, I'm Keith, and unfortunately, Victor is out sick. I figure it's love sickness, something like that. But we hope that he gets better soon. But from far, far away, we have distant creatures. So one by one, let me introduce you. We have, starting over on the side, Dane. Say hello, Dane.
Hello, Dane.
That mic is so far away from you, Dane.
Hello, this
but
is Dane.
Pull it in. You can do this. It's like, you know how mics work. You're a musician, for God's sake.
I don't use it very well.
That's all right. And next in line, we've got Chris.
Enchanted.
Enchanted.
Chris, yes.
Yes. And we learned that you might also be known as Paul prior to the show starting.
Occasionally.
So we may refer to you as Paul or Chris. We have Mina.
Hi, I'm Mina.
Hello, Mina. And then you're sharing a mic very nicely with Mike. We didn't know we'd have so many people here, but hello, Mike.
Hello, how's it going?
Look at that. See, we've got a good radio voice all around. Excellent. So
I wish, buddy.
And so welcome to the show. You guys, I assume, also thinking about perhaps Valentine's Day as the impending doom washes over you. Because you basically have to hit a home run or you're toast, right? Like, you can't half-ass Valentine's Day, right? You have to do well.
Yeah, or we'll be on the street.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty much.
And except for Mina, you've got it easy, right? Because you don't have to do anything, do you? Like, Valentine's Day is like, bring unto me flowers and chocolates.
No, I have to lower my expectations.
That is so funny because it's true.
I have to forget all tomorrow what day it is because I just know my partner is so not into this shit.
Oh, well, if he or she is listening, just so you know, it's too late because this comes out after Valentine's Day. You've already screwed up. So do something nice. Or not nice. Like, do something, right? I guess you could give a gift that's actually like worse than not giving a gift, right?
Yeah.
That's possible. What would make Valentine's Day worse than missing Valentine's Day?
Taxes.
I brought you just the forms. If that was like you put a bow on tax forms and you're like, Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, exactly.
My wife's an accountant, so that would be even worse.
Is it worse that you got the word back from the government and they were like, you owe a lot.
Yep.
That might be even worse than having to do the paperwork. I was thinking if you were trying to be witty and you're like, Valentine's Day, how about Valvoline for Valentine's Day? I got you an oil change, right? You think in your head, like you're like, I nailed it, right? Because it's basically alliteration. So
It's practical.
Yeah, and it's practical. She needed an oil change anyway, and I want her car to be safe. And you would come in with that gift card and you would just be thrown right out on your ass.
Well, I think Valentine's Day can be really stressful for people who aren't in very serious relationships when they're in kind of in that gray area with someone.
That's when Valvoline's most
Not
important.
that I'm speaking from personal
Friction.
experience.
There's a lot of friction in those relationships.
That's when you find out how serious that relationship
No,
is.
I mean that's the day where some people from the past might lurk back and leave a little comment on someone's Facebook.
Oh.
And
So you're talking-
kind of burst your bubble about what situation you're really in with someone.
We need to have a word for that, right? Because we have like ghosting when people disappear, right? And we have these various terms for online dating. But do we have a term for like someone that was kind of involved in the past just kind of magically showing up again?
I think it just sucks.
Yeah, it just sucks.
Creeper.
Sucking.
Fair enough. But Valentine's Day is a really good litmus test for a brand new relationship because if it's like, oh, he got me a rose, that's good. Not great, but good, right? And like you could judge.
I think you understand what it's like out there for
Yeah.
women these days. Like
I guarantee I don't.
Like even that rose would really make a lot of women really happy. because
Really?
The bar is just so low.
Is it?
It's like, oh, I got a text like at 1 a.m. asking if I'm up. Like he likes me, you know. Like that's kind of the awful pedigree of behavior that exists.
Really?
Unfortunately.
So the current bar is a Valentine's Day booty call is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Like that's like, oh, that's nice. He thought of me.
I feel like I'm doing pretty good then now.
Yeah,
That's how
right.
low the bar is.
You brought taxes. And
I'm not any higher.
how about that box of IOUs? How do we feel about that? Because I feel like that's one of the like really low bar things because you get a box and it has the things that are like, you know, IOU one, like, you know, back massage. But it's always full of things that like you really should probably be doing anyway. And so it's like, hey, you're in luck. Sometime during the next calendar year, I'm actually going to participate in this relationship. Right? And they're like, oh, great. Awesome. Oh, a hug. Thanks. I'm going to put that one here in my pocket so that I can have this on a rough day. What do you think, Mina?
Well, I think this is the reasoning behind why my boyfriend doesn't do anything for me on Valentine's Day. He always says, I do these things for you every day of the year, you know? So what should I do for you on Valentine's Day?
So, Mina, I'm going to ask you a very difficult question that I don't know if you want to answer right now on a podcast.
Sure.
Is that true?
It is.
It is. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Because if it had been like, hey, I do all these really nice things all year, and you're like, like all year, the bar is still pretty low.
No, I just want him to dress better.
Just all year or this day? Like
All year.
All year.
Like that's the only thing I asked for him for like Christmas, birthday, Valentine's. Like, can you throw out that pair of sweatpants? I'm like,
Is he wearing them out?
yes.
Sweatpants out in the
And
real world?
shoes with like holes in them.
Oh, okay. For a moment, you had me because you said shoes, and I was like, "Oh my god, I might be dating you because I also wear shoes."
No, I really thought he was homeless.
Is that why you dated him?
Do you still-
Because you were
do you
like,
still think he's
you need
homeless?
a place to stay.
It's why I kind of started earning a living and like getting
to help
my
him out.
like paying rent like in a place where two people could comfortably live because I thought
Yeah.
he was homeless. But he's not. But that's not why I started dating him. I don't have like a homeless fetish. I just like
Right,
I was like, oh, he looks homeless. I'm gonna go after him. I was like,
Everybody's into their own thing.
right. Were you drawn to his artistic ability to make cardboard signs, or
no,
what was
he
it?
wasn't actually homeless. I was drawn to the fact that he was really helpful. Like he would carry all the things for me all the time.
He does care for
From
our
where? That seems creepy. If he's following you around carrying things.
He's extremely helpful. Like,
Yeah?
he's pretty much our.
Like pick up an amplifier
guy.
with one hand and just like carry it into venues for us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you meet him at a show?
No, but he did come to my shows in New York all the way from DC. I met him
Oh,
at
wow.
school at UVA.
Oh, okay. All right. So he's from the DC area.
He is, yeah.
Okay. So that's quite a connection, though. You met somebody down in Richmond who happened to live in this area. That's pretty cool. So you've gotten shy.
It's a long story, and I don't want to.
No, that's fine. We don't need any long stories here. We've only got 1 hour.
Yes.
And we don't want to waste it all on one story. We got lots of stories to go for. So while we're speaking of stories, Distant Creatures, this is the band that you guys are a part of. You guys have a show coming up on Saturday, February 24th at Epicure Cafe in Fairfax, Virginia. I hear that you guys are playing some new music for that show. What's going on?
Yeah, we after we put out our album in the late summer, we spent a lot of the fall writing new material, and this is kind of the first showcase for most of it. It's the first time we're going to be playing it for people, so
Cool.
kind of road testing it a little bit.
So this is literally the debut of a bunch of these songs.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Anybody else on the bill with you guys? Do you know?
Yeah, the other band we're playing with is called Sam Cooper and the Sleepwalkers.
They've been on the show.
Oh, really?
Sam
That's
Cooper.
fantastic.
Yeah. Good guys.
I actually am a playing member of that band as well currently.
Oh, so that's how you found us. I see.
And they didn't invite you on the show?
I know.
They did invite me. Well,
What did they do?
I've only been actually with them for about a year. When did they do the show?
It was 1 year and 1 week ago.
Well, that might be why.
No, I don't remember offhand. It was just exactly 1 year ago, and they were like, "Do not talk to us about the new guy. He's very embarrassing."
We thought he was homeless.
So if people want to check out other shows or more music from you guys, they can go to www.distantcreatures.com, correct?
That's right.
Sure.
Yeah. And we do have a song that we're going to be playing on the show here. We'll do a snippet of it a little later. But if you want to hear the song in its entirety, it's called Friends Halo. It's at the end of this podcast. So fast forward to the 1 hour mark. You can hear the entire song. Come back and join us for this part. And it's off of, is it an EP or full album?
Full album.
A full album called Snares and Safe Harbors, which is a lot of S's in. Yes, it is. So we'll be playing that later. In the meantime, since you guys have a lot of experience playing music already and writing songs, we want to have you guys try something a little different and getting bad Valentine's Day gifts. We want to make you the editor-in-chief of a brand new publication. So you guys get to launch a new publication, and we're going to try and figure out what news should make it into that publication. This is the segment we call the Weather Report. So I'm going to give you a few news items that I found around the internet, and you are going to let me know if they make it into a publication and perhaps where in the publication. At the end of this, I'm going to need to know the name of this new publication so that obviously people can grab it off of the newsstands and read it for themselves. So are you guys ready for this? It's a big responsibility.
No.
Okay. I'll give you a minute.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, good. Thank God, because that was going to get really boring really quickly. We're going to start off with what I think might be the most disturbing story of the evening. So a suit was settled. A gentleman won $175,000, which is great. It's always nice when you can settle out of court. The reason he had sued is he sued the police department because he was a police officer and he was fired, he believed wrongly, for not shooting a black suspect. That's right. He didn't shoot a black man and then he got fired for it. So Stephen Mader was the first responding officer to a 2006 call involving R.J. Williams, a 23-year-old black man believed to be suicidal. Mader, who was white, made the determination that Williams did not seem to be an immediate threat to himself or fellow officers, even though he was holding a gun. So not unarmed, but made a judgment call. Mader began trying to talk Williams down. Mader said he wasn't angry, he wasn't aggressive, he didn't seem to be in position to want to use a gun against anybody. He never pointed it at me, and he didn't perceive him, and I didn't perceive him as an imminent threat. But amid Mader's attempts to convince William to drop the weapon, 2 veteran officers arrived at the scene and almost immediately shot and killed Williams. Yeah, and so then like 10 days later, he got a letter of dismissal and said, yeah, we're sorry, you're no longer going to be part of the police department because you didn't shoot a guy. And he said, that seems wrong. And here's the great news. He was right, at least according to the legal system. So it's gotten worse almost, right? We've had all of this Black Lives Matter stuff because we had, unarmed black men being shot by police officers, and various scenarios that you may have agreed or disagreed with. But now we actually have them going, hey, I don't think I'm going to shoot this guy. And then police departments being like, yeah, you should have shot him. And the fact that you didn't makes you not an officer. So that's a little scary, I would think.
Sure.
Hopefully there's not a law in the books that's like, if you are holding a gun, we're going to shoot you in the face, no matter how dangerous we think you are. because at worst, if he seemed to be suicidal, he was a threat to himself.
Yeah.
And the veteran officers took care of that because he's no longer a threat to himself. I think the threat was that he was going to kill himself. So killing him didn't really solve anything. So maybe a bit disappointing. Is it news? Does it make it into your publication?
I think it's got to be news, right? Because at least it sets a good example for other maybe police officers reading it. At least the way they can make a lot of money.
Yeah, it might be.
I think we need to make our newspaper as depressing as possible. So yes.
Just so it fits in with the other news.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's kind of messed up. I mean,
Yeah.
did the guy's family get anything? Like,
Oh, the gentleman who was killed?
yes.
I don't know. There was
Oh, they
nothing.
did shoot him?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, the veteran, the
missed
two
that.
vets did. They came in and killed him right away. In their infinite wisdom as veteran cops. So I don't know that because that would take me even more time to research, and I'm just lazy. So I mean, a man's life was at stake, but I was still wanted to eat dinner.
You shouldn't
so.
be compensated for making the right choice. Like that's baseline human behavior. Like you shouldn't be rewarded for doing the thing that you should do.
Sure. No, but I think what was the
I
problem
don't
is
think
he was
should
fired.
be fired.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if he should have gotten $175,000
For wrongful termination.
Yes.
He should have
He
just
should have just gotten his job back.
Right.
I think that would have been difficult. Like, I think if you're put back on the same force that just fired you,
It would be
that would be really uncomfortable, I think is the problem. And then I assume he probably lost a couple of years. I mean, it's 2018 now. That happened in 2016. So I'm guessing it's like back wages and some things like that as well. So they did also make, as part of the plea deal, that there would be no repercussions, like they wouldn't reach out to other like police forces and prevent him from getting another job as a police officer. So that's, I think, also important. But do you think it should make it into your publication?
Do you think so, Mina?
I don't think so.
Well, there's 2 against 1, so
That's
you're
it.
wrong.
We're taking this outside.
What does Michael think?
I kind of walked in on the middle of this, so
For those that don't know what's happening,
I
Mike
mean,
has locked his keys in his car.
yeah. Where did this person get shot? Was this in
So-
the area or?
So the long story short is that a police officer sued the police force for wrongful termination because he was fired for not shooting a black suspect.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well.
and he won. He won $175,000
He
for
won?
wrongful
Oh,
termination.
jeez.
So
Wow. Wow. That's
I'm gonna say it. We'll put this one in. I think this one goes in. We can decide
Maybe
maybe.
a little dark though. I
It is
don't know.
pretty
If,
dark.
I mean, especially for
Whoa! They prefer African American. Jesus Christ!
Jeez.
Just a little sensitivity.
Tone it down a level,
that's
Mike.
not what I meant.
Yeah,
Oh,
God,
come on.
Mike.
Give me a break here.
All right, moving on to the next one. A woman tries hiding from police by placing a washing basket on her head. That is a real story. The Derbyshire police turned up at a woman's house after she failed to attend court, and she told the officers she would hand herself in on Monday. However, in order to try and fool the officers, the woman stood in her bathroom and placed a white plastic laundry basket on her head, but her torso and legs were still poking out underneath. Police officers then took a picture and put that on Twitter and said that they'd found the suspect.
Nobody shot her.
No one shot her. That's good. Yeah, there was no shooting involved. They probably should have, just because I don't see a long, like, fruitful life in front of this particular woman. But there is, I would suggest, if you guys get a chance, if you're listening at home, we'll have the link up on our website, up on Facebook and Twitter. Click on that link if you get a chance. If not, look this story up. There's a fantastic picture of just a person standing up against a wall in a bathroom with a plastic waste or a hamper like over her head. It goes down to like maybe her elbows. And then the rest is just person. Like, I assume that like in her mind, she's still like a 2-year-old and doesn't realize that people can't see her if she can't see them. But apparently she thought that they would be like, nothing in here but some dirty clothes standing on their own.
Sounds like some Looney Tunes shit there.
Yeah.
It's just like trying to hide behind like a coat rack, trying to hide in a painting by pretending to be
Right.
the actual person in the painting.
I would have given her more credit if she just put the lampshade on the head, right? Like, because he'd be like, maybe that's a person-shaped lamp, right?
Please tell me her mug shots, she still had the laundry basket on. That would be great.
No, they didn't, but they should have.
Oh, rats.
I mean, at the very least, the police were going to like check this out and be like, those clothes are so dirty that they can support a hamper, right? Like we have to check those clothes out because there's something wrong with them. So it's disturbing how terrible she is at hide and seek. But is it news?
That's
No.
definitely a crime, being that bad at hide and seek.
That's what I'm saying. It might want to go in the blotter, right? Like
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it
mean,
goes
if
in the
this was
comics
Farts
section.
or something.
yeah.
I think it's news.
She's just going to say the opposite of you guys every time.
That's fine.
It's fashion news.
You know,
It's in the fashion section.
Yes.
I can change my mind under that reasoning.
Style and
There
fashion.
you go.
Everyone's doing it now. All right, so we've got 2 in at this point. So let's do another. Let's see if we can. We're batting 1,000. I'm really proud of myself right now as a reporter because I feel like I'm knocking it out of the park. This one I think is a really good sense of how out of touch politicians are with the real world. New York lawmakers have proposed a new law to force Tide to make Tide Pods look less appetizing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I read about that. Yeah.
That is straight up news. You gotta put that in, guys.
Yeah, 2 New York state lawmakers are calling for a state law to require new packaging for laundry detergent pods following the dangerous trend of people eating the toxic items.
They must have listened to your podcast.
Yes, they probably did. We did have an episode called the Podcast Challenge, right? The Tide Podcast
Tide
Challenge.
podcast. Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
And so, but the thing is, they're missing the point, right? Like, all of the people eating it aren't going like, this looks delicious, I'm going to have one, right? They're going, oh, if I go on YouTube and I eat this really horrible thing, people will watch me and I'll be famous. So the colors aren't really the problem. It's people, right? We need to make people illegal, right?
Good luck.
Like teenagers. If we can make teenagers illegal, that would help a lot.
It'd be a great start for society.
I think it would be. So it was an unfortunate trend, and I don't think that this is the thing that's going to stop it. I'm guessing it's just going to be everyone realizes that they die when they eat Tide Pods. Is it news?
People dying from eating Tide Pods?
No, the new law is the thing.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
I prefer our news readers to have no idea and continue the tradition.
The New Yorker or
Just to
something?
weed
Come
out
on,
the
just
state.
throw in. Come on. This is great news. I mean, people need to know that they shouldn't eat Tide Pods, and New York is doing something about that.
New York
They're
is
taking
doing
a
something
stance.
about it.
Just New York.
Everybody else is
Cleaning
like,
up the city.
cleaning up the inside of this city.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. I mean, how are you going to make them look unappetizing, though? I mean,
They got those bright colors. They just
yeah, they're like candy.
Yeah, that's very true. I think if you make them look like broccoli, that's how you do
Oh.
it. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Tide-
these are teenagers we're talking about here, and they might be a little bit more open to broccoli. I mean, if it's cool, like everyone's doing it. I mean,
We disguise them as the SATs,
yeah.
and then people. Yeah.
I mean,
There's
like,
ways.
how do they even taste? Like, I don't even.
What does broccoli even taste like?
Regret. They taste like regret.
I'll be honest, I'm kind of curious to just poke a little hole in one and like lick it.
No,
what
do
it is.
not do that.
I don't actually want to eat
No, don't lick the Tide Pod.
at least not in the state of New York.
but
that
it's
is
so
a big insult.
colorful.
No, that's why they're making the law. Oh, we now we know who it's for.
Not a law in DC or Virginia. So.
Would you be less likely to want to taste it if it was less colorful?
I mean, yeah.
Well, now we know. I've changed my mind. We do need a law that
We
makes
might
these.
need a new singer soon.
I would be.
They need all those colors to like, get customers to actually buy it. That's how you tell like the different types of pods.
Nikki
And also,
CEO is a Tide Pod.
the ones from Arm & Hammer, I guess that's baking soda in them. So, that's I've heard that's a good cure for indigestion. So
Oh, see, look at that.
Maybe just make
We're on
them edible and healthy, and also give them the ability to clean clothes.
Right. Or remove the ability to clean clothes and we just make them vitamins.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that works too. That works too.
The thing I don't understand is those colors have to be created by dyes, right? Why doesn't it dye your clothes a different color? Right? If you have blue and orange gel that's going in, why aren't your socks turning blue and orange? You should have purple socks that come out, right?
Magic.
I mean,
That's
it's
the magic
detergent.
Tide
I assume. I don't know.
I don't either.
Shit about detergent, but
All right. So we're not putting it in.
I just don't wash my clothes enough to know any of this.
Well, if you ever need to, look underneath your hamper, and that's probably where they're standing.
What's that?
So, all right. So not going in there. Next, after fourth DWI, man argues that legal limit discriminates against alcoholics. I actually really like this one a lot. After his fourth driving while intoxicated conviction in 2016, a San Antonio man tried to overturn his 4-year prison sentence by arguing that Texas's legal limit on intoxicated driving discriminates against alcoholics. Ralph Alfred Freisenhahn argued, he sounds like he drinks, argued that the state's driving limit of 0.08 blood alcohol concentration ignores the higher tolerances that frequent drinkers have to the effects of liquor. There's an interesting point there. And if you think about it, you've got like the Discrimination Disabilities Act, right? So if you have a condition that gives you a disability, let's say alcoholism, the law would have to account for that. The Austin-based Third Court of Appeals was not buying it, however. Not only did he fail to present evidence that alcoholics are a protected class under the Americans with Disability Act or any other federal law, he also failed to prove that the law treats alcoholics differently than any other DWI defendants. Keep in mind that the one that he's trying to overturn was when he was arrested due to a single car rollover accident where he had the blood alcohol content 3 times higher than the legal limit at 0.29. So I see where he's saying like, hey, if I can drive really well with like 0.1 because of a condition that I have where I drink a lot, why can't I drive if I'm able to? And my response would be, you flipped a fucking car all alone. You can't drive. You suck. So
They should have they should test your blood alcohol when you appear in court too.
right.
Totally.
That would be the thing. Oh, that's brilliant. So what you'd have to do is to get away with it, you'd have to show up with the same blood alcohol content and be able to argue your case, right? Because if you could do that coherently, then it's like,
If he thought that he had a case, he must have been quite drunk.
right? You think he was trashed in court,
Yes.
and they were like, oh God, he's gone to it again. But I would say that there's a good chance if you can show up with like a 1.5, right, a 0.15, and that's what you were driving under the influence of, and you can actually defend your case in a court of law, I'm gonna give it to you, right? Like if you can make a coherent thought and say like, hey, Your Honor, I know that the law says 0.08, but here are the factors and stuff, and this person was changing lanes into my car, and so it wasn't actually my fault. I'd be like, guy's got a point.
He didn't slur any of that.
Yeah.
He must get off.
Uh-huh. All right. So does it make it into the publication? That's the question.
yeah, I don't know. This is just crazy. I mean, I can kind of see what you're saying, but I can see how alcoholism can be treated as a condition in the courtroom. But
Sure.
If this goes through, then suddenly, Kevin Smith might reopen his case about being too fucking fat to sit in the airplane seats, and we don't want to go through all that bullshit again. So.
Right. We don't want fat people driving. Oh my God.
I think that's valid.
Yeah.
Because everybody would benefit from wider airport seats.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And in airplane seats.
Nobody would benefit from the allowance of drunker people driving.
That's not true. Daredevil shows would be much better. NASCAR would be awesome, for the record. I would watch the shit out of some
Most of them are
NASCAR.
drunk to
Wait,
begin
are you
with.
saying they're not
Yeah.
drunk already?
Yeah, I don't know.
I
All those
second that.
crashes.
All right, we're running out of time. We're running over late already, so these are a couple quick ones. Mattel is going to be releasing a brand new game. Are you familiar with the game Uno?
Yes.
Okay, what could be possibly better than the game Uno?
Dose.
Well, yes, Mattel is actually going to be releasing a game called Dose. You nailed it. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The rules are similar to those of Uno, except the players make 2 piles of cards and can throw down 2 cards at a time instead of 1. Here's the sad part. Fittingly for the name, the game apparently took them 2 years to develop. I could have done this drunk over a weekend, right? Like that's not that hard to come up with. So is it news?
No.
No, not making it into the publication.
No.
Dose, no. Trace knows?
No.
Okay. All right. No knows there.
Sorry.
All knows. That's fine. I was shooting for the stars on that one. This one is my favorite, I think, of the entire night. Princeton's there's a Princeton course called Anthropology 212. The title for the course is Cultural Freedoms, Hate Speech, Blasphemy, and Pornography. This is a class that will be canceled.
Okay.
It is being
Sounds
canceled.
awesome, though.
The reason, this is the best part, the reason this course is being canceled, they had their first class. Anthropology professor Lawrence Rosen used a racial slur during a lecture on oppressive symbolism, causing several students to walk out of the classroom and complain. So let's recap. Students took a class called Hate Speech, Blasphemy, and Pornography, and then walked out of it because somebody mentioned hate speech in the class.
They weren't going to sit around for the pornography?
Yeah. First of all, they missed all the good stuff because the blasphemy and the pornography is where it's at. If you could have held on tight and white knuckled the hate speech, the rest of that entire semester would have been awesome, right?
I agree.
Could have aced that class.
But yeah, so several students were like, how dare he use hate speech while describing hate speech, which does, because here's the problem I have with that, right? Is I understand we should, as a culture, we need to be more thoughtful, more caring about the people around us, right? But let's be honest, right? When you say the N-word, when you say the N-word, not the actual N-word, but you say the words the N-word, right? We all know that just means the N-word that we can't use, right? We know, like, if I were to go up to someone and say, you are such a fucking the N-word, they wouldn't be like, oh, thank God you didn't use the actual word, right? They would still punch me in the face because we all know what we're talking about, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're saying this is a course about learning about how that affects society, and it is about like what the effects of those types of words and other words have, maybe that's a case where saying it in that kind of clinical sense, is that okay at that point? Or do we still have to refer to it in this lingo where we're saying, like, we all know I'm going to put that word in your head, right? And you're going to think that word, but I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to make you the racist, right? Like,
Yeah, you got to think about the context it's used in a little bit as well.
Sure.
I mean, if you're in a classroom learning about it, it doesn't sound like it's being used in an offensive way. If you're kind of, I don't know.
it is an offensive word still.
Yeah.
We definitely agree with that, right?
Right.
But there's probably, I mean, we weren't there. There's always a chance that Professor Rosen had been like,
Just
you know,
totally off the
right.
rails.
Just was like, hey, welcome to class. I'm glad all my N-words are here with me, right? And then we'd be like, dude, like that was okay. Yeah, no, you don't get a free pass on that one. But if he was like, hey, the N-word started here, and this is like the history of it, and this is, you know, where that first arrived, then yeah, maybe we're being a little sensitive to it. Does that make me a horrible person if I say that maybe that's too sensitive? Do you think?
I mean, I feel as though it's kind of important in the sense that, you know, if we don't educate ourselves on how you know sensitive people typically are to that word and why that is, it's going to start losing its meaning. And I feel as though, all these people that came to this class, how did they not know that something like this was going to be said there?
I feel like you did probably sign up for it. Yeah.
I mean, did they just like skip that part and just go, oh, wow, pornography? And,
So
blasphemy.
Yeah. So do you think, is it news? Does it make it into the publication?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. What do you, Mina, you look like you had something to say.
I have like so much to say, but I don't even know where to begin.
Okay.
I think the problem is just labels.
Yeah.
And people are sensitive, but that's not a bad thing. I think as part of our like growth as a human collective, where the things that used to separate us are we're evolving out of, and that's a very positive thing.
That's true. Absolutely.
There is like a resistance to that, the blending too, which is kind of like Newton's third law. Like for every action, there's an equal reaction, and hate is such an unfortunate thing, but it is a reality, and it's in all of us,
right?
And it's not necessarily a racial or a thing that's about who we are in all of us. Sometimes it's just general hate.
That's true.
And I think this is just kind of getting hashed out as we kind of grow as people.
Yeah, I think we are.
It's a good thing. It sucks that these people were so, they take this class, but they can't even sit through it because it's missing the point. The point is to face the thoughts that we have
that are uncomfortable, right?
And,
these are very uncomfortable
and understand
things.
them because really, how can you be so against words?
Yeah,
it's actions and what we've done to each other through history that
context. Yeah,
that
absolutely.
is what we should really be thinking about. And maybe it's easier to get all like holier than thou about the usage of a word here or there instead of looking at the actual behavior.
Yeah.
Involved.
I mean, I'm all for not using particular words because I think if I care about somebody else and it makes them uncomfortable, I don't need that word. That's not really that important. I'm gonna have another word, right? I can describe people in many different ways by color of hair or a talent that you have or my relationship to you or
smell.
Yeah, or smell. Or the fact that you have a laundry basket on your head. Like there's so many things I could use. So I have no problem with that. But yeah, I think in a learning situation, when you're preemptively told, hey, this is going to be a sensitive subject, and we all agree to that, maybe like walking out and being like, how dare you say things that are really controversial in a situation where we're learning about controversial things is kind of maybe something we should push back on and say, like, these are things worth actually studying so that we understand how to not go back to this or not how to make sure that we don't make new words that we have to get rid of later, right? We don't want this to be a cycle where, 100 years or 50 years from now, the words we're using now, people are like, I can't believe you said that. Right? So, all right.
I feel that way about alarm clocks. I think like in 100 years, we'll look back and be like, I can't believe they did that.
They'll use electric shocks to wake up in the future.
Terrible.
Oh, okay, I'm good. What's the name of your publication, everybody?
I want to call it Cruel Irony.
Cruel Irony. All right. I like it. Okay. Well, we're running way behind. So let's jump in real quick. I'm going to jump real quick into these things so we can get moving on with the show. In studio, we have Distant Creatures. Again, we have Mike, Mina, Chris, and Dane. They're all going to be playing brand new music along. I think there's another person in the band, right?
Yeah, Ben. He's the drummer.
And Ben as well. All playing new music Saturday, February 24th at Epicure Cafe in Fairfax, Virginia. You can go to www.distantcreatures.com to hear more of their music, see more of their shows, and connect with them on various social media outlets. We're going to play a clip from a song of yours that you brought. If you want to hear the whole song, fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this show and you can hear it in its entirety. You guys want to set up, this is a song called Friends Halo. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. It was our first single off of the album we put out last year called Snares and Safe Harbors. Mm-hmm. And what else can we say about it?
It's a song.
One of the singles of the month.
There's
for
music in it.
DKFM. Back in like July or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let's take a listen to it, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about what it sounds like afterwards. So this is just a clip from Distant Creatures, their song Friends Halo.
It's hard for me to say I make mistakes.
So when you guys introduced this to me, you were saying you were laughing about the fact that it was a cover from another band. Which one did you say?
Sonic Youth.
Sonic Youth, right? Yeah. And especially in that kind of chorus section, you can hear a little of that there. It's a little more atmospheric, I think, than I would expect from Sonic Youth. But there's definitely some callbacks to that. Do you have other like influences? What do you guys listen to that gets you into this kind of sound?
Well, I know I think we all every member of the band owns a copy of My Bloody Valentine's Loveless and The Cure's Disintegration.
Nice.
I think if anything, that's our sound right there.
I can hear some of that. There's definitely some Cure in there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. There's that kind of like multiple melodies kind of happening around each other, which is always something that they've been really known for. You've got like that backup vocal that's happening. The guitar's kind of doing its own little thing that has its kind of hook. And then obviously the main vocals over top. So yeah, that's very cool. I assume this is a track that you're going to be playing on Saturday.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's correct.
One of your, and then you have a bunch of new music you're doing as well. So
And this is, if I may add,
yeah, please do.
this is one of my favorite venues to play at.
Epicure
They've got
Cafe.
Amazing food.
Mhm.
They're this random little place in the suburbs, and that just has so much soul and incredible art on the walls, and it's just such good vibes. Like I totally love being there, and
I hear that a lot about Epicure Cafe. They got great
can't
food.
recommend it enough.
And they're very supportive of local
So
musicians.
supportive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if anybody wants to go and actually support a local venue, this is a really great one. There's a few out there, but I hear a lot of musicians speaking about Epicure Cafe, and that's over in Fairfax, Virginia. So if you're like in the Northern Virginia area and you don't want to have to drive downtown and find parking or metro or all those types of things, this is a great opportunity because big parking lot. You don't have to worry about any of the transportation issues. The shows tend to be pretty affordable. Do you know what the cover is for your show? Is there a cover?
I don't believe there's any cover for
There's no cover.
No. See, look at that. So you can come, you can get some food, grab some drinks, and enjoy some really great music. And it's you guys and also
Sam Cooper and the Sleepwalkers.
yeah, Sam Cooper, who was on our show once as well. So this is excellent. Well, moving on. Again, if you want to hear the rest of that entire song, go to the 1 hour mark of this show, which is coming up quickly. So I want to make sure that we blow through our next segment, which is called Please God, Just Get One Right. This is our little game show that we've created. You've had no time to prepare. It's not going to be easy. But if you get one right, you will actually get a prize from Uncle Archie's Box of Fun, which I know you're very excited about.
Oh, pump.
They're terrible. It's very cheap. So our friends Surprise Attack, who were on the last episode, which has been released, decided they had the theme of poultry. You didn't get that. But to pay it forward, they chose Rob Thomas.
Ooh.
Yes. So
I'm an expert.
there you go. You get to test all of your Rob Thomas knowledge. So without further ado, I'm going to blow through these so we can get into the interview before the show ends. So let's get started. I'm going to start with a little bit of a curveball because I found this online. I thought it was really interesting. Rob Thomas is the lead singer of Matchbox 20. We all know that, right? Mm-hmm. It is also the name of another man who was the creator and producer of what TV show that later went on to make a movie funded by Kickstarter?
Party Down?
No? And anybody else have I'll give you one other guess if anyone wants.
Oh, Veronica Mars.
That's it. Yes,
There we
it's
go.
Veronica Mars. You've gotten one. You've already hit a home run at this point.
And let's just skip the rest.
Yes. All right. So there you go. Yeah.
I'm really impressed you got that.
Very nice. All right. Excellent.
Can Mike the trivia night.
The rest of these are going to be Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20.
Okay. There we go.
So right. So we're hoping that Chris is going to really take the reins here.
I wasn't lying.
In what country was Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20 born?
Canada.
Oh, good guess. Anybody else?
Is it America?
Wouldn't it have been a dick thing to do to say America?
3 a.m.
Yeah. Actually, no. He was born on a military base in Germany.
Okay.
Yeah. So a U.S. citizen, but yeah, on a base. At age 17, Rob Thomas went to jail for 2 months for what offense?
Capital murder.
I like the way you think.
Arson.
Was it Was it drunk driving?
It was not. No, that would be the fourth time he'd have to do that.
Oh, okay.
He'd have to flip a car, and then he would appeal that.
Okay,
No, it was stealing a car. He stole a Camaro.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, he is a criminal. I found all kinds of good things. Okay, while tripping on acid, I could stop there, right? Rob Thomas once burned his hands so severely that doctors thought amputation might be required. What did he burn his hands on?
Oof.
A matchbox.
You have to move your mic quick. Go
20
closer.
matchboxes.
20 matchboxes. The name of the band. He had 20 matchboxes on fire in his hands. Anyone else?
Dry ice.
That's it. It's dry ice.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was.
What?
Yeah.
I know that.
Did we get 2
I read
picks
it
of the
somewhere.
magic
I forgot.
fun box?
Yeah, absolutely. 2 gifts. So you're up to 2 at this point. Yeah, he was tripping on acid and something in his brain said, I'd like to play with this dry ice with my bare hands for I don't know how long, but enough for his hands to get really burned.
Why did he have dry ice?
I don't know why you would have acid and dry ice together. I don't know what kind of party that was. I assume maybe it was like a fog party or something. And so we were like, we're tripping and there's fog everywhere.
He was just a little unwell.
See, he knows. He's good. All right. At age 12, Thomas's mother was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, forcing him to take care of her while she was getting treatment. What famous song of his was inspired by this situation?
Oh, God. Was it unwell? No, because now I'm going to feel like a jerk.
Yeah. Unwell. Anybody else have a guess?
No.
3 a.m.
It's 3 a.m.
Oh, that's like the one Matchbox 20 song I know.
That's the one. Yeah. It was based off of him having to take care of his mother through cancer.
How does that one go?
It's 3 a.m. I must be lonely.
Oh, yeah.
And he has to say it that way.
What did
Lonely.
What a complex feeling.
So, all right, last but not least, here we go. How many songs has Rob Thomas, at least partially written, been a part of, assuming that he wrote the ones for Matchbox 20? So counting his solo stuff and Matchbox 20, that he was part of writing and performing, that made it to #1 on a U.S. chart.
Ooh. 4.
Oh, good guess. Anyone else?
5?
3.
All right. 6, actually.
Okay.
Does anyone want to try and name some of these? Anyone got a chance?
Well, Smooth has got to be one.
Yeah.
Smooths is one of them. Yeah, we got one.
Isn't 3 a.m. one?
3 a.m.'s one of them.
What's the name of the song? This Baby, it's time to come home. What's the name of that one?
Baby, it's time to come home.
That's not the name of it.
But
He named one.
I know that was one of them.
Unwell.
Unwell's one. You're halfway there.
Wow, he wrote all of these?
Is that one called Now That You're Gone? Or
Oh, close. I'll give it to you. If You're Gone.
If You're Gone.
If You're Gone. That's 4. 2 more.
Oof.
All right, you give up.
Yeah.
We have Lonely No More and Bent were the other
Bent.
two.
Oh,
There's
Bent.
no Bent, but yeah.
Lonely No More is the one that's like really poppy. He did it on single, and it's like it almost sounds like a dance track. Yeah, I want to be lonely no more. I'm gonna pay for this.
Oh, yeah.
that one. It doesn't sound like
It doesn't-
him. So
yeah,
that's probably
it's really
why I
weird.
forgot
Yeah.
about it.
So he got that one. So I think we ended up with 3. I think you got 3 right out of that. Is that right? Right? Because
That's
you got
right, yeah.
you got Dry Ice, you got Veronica Mars, and you got 3 a.m.
Yep.
So three press. That means somebody's gonna have to share. I'm just saying. All right. So here we go. We shake it up. Do you want to pass these around? So who wants to do the picking? Anyone? Pass those around.
I'll let you guys.
Mina,
trust you guys.
Mina's the only one
I
that
love-
didn't get one
I
right.
love
So
picking.
Okay, there you go. You pick. Do you guys want to pick? You get 2 more. You got.
Ooh.
You can open them right now. Go for it. It's an auditory experience.
Yeah, crinkle them up on the.
Let us know what you got. Good job, by the way. We only wanted you to get 1 right. You got 3 right. You got half of them right. So that was pretty fantastic.
I think this is the
is
Triforce from Legend of Zelda.
It's like a puzzle. It looks like. Is
Yeah.
it like there a ball in it?
This is
It's one of
There
those
is a
like ball-bearing puzzle thing, but it's in a triangle.
and I hope my Valentine gives me the Triforce for
Well, you don't know. It might be Dane.
Zelda?
Dane might be your
This is going
Valentine.
to be your Valentine's gift.
That'd
I
be
got
weird.
a compass.
You got a compass that's also a ring.
Yes.
That's pretty great. You'll never be lost with that. So for Valentine's, you were hoping for a ring and you got one.
No.
Oh.
Wow, we've made this uncomfortable. All right.
To this podcast.
Mike, what do you have? Get your mic. Mike into the mic. It's your name.
This looks like, well, it's a die, but I'm guessing it's like a Rubik's Cube or something. I don't even.
Oh no. Oh, it's gone. Oh, terrible things are happening.
I have no clue.
So it looks like a dice, but it has little breaks in it, and you're not sure what that, like, maybe it's a puzzle or something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
I'll use it for D&D.
It's confusing is what I hear. It's very, very confusing. So congratulations, everybody. Most important thing you can do this show, however, is as it was stuck to you, surprise attack gave you Rob Thomas to try and guess.
Aye.
What do you want our next guest to have to try and guess? What do you want them to try and have get one right?
Questions about Turkmenistan.
Turkmenistan. Wow. You hate me, right? Is that what you're doing? Because I have to research them.
First of all, you have to spell Turkmenistan.
Okay, how about just former USSR? That's probably a better one.
So the former USSR.
Yeah.
Okay. Former USSR. That'll give me a little bit more to work with. I like that. Okay. So next week, you'll want to listen to the next episode to find out if our next guest can answer at least one question about the former USSR. Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody, for doing that. You were definitely a success. Let's move on to a little segment we like to call Near and Far.
Near. Go far again. Far.
Yeah.
See, that's what it's all
That's what it's about.
I understand.
I understand. So we're going to ask you for two stories, one that's close to home, one out in your adventures. Which one would you like to start with?
Close to home.
Close to home. So near. Who's going to give us a near story? You just pointing a mic?
I'm just trying to figure out this puzzle.
All right, Mike, if you're going to do near, you have to do near the mic as well.
Okay, all right. A near story.
Yeah.
Crud. I know you told me not to say and on any of this, but I'm kind of put on the spot here.
Nobody else thought of one, they screwed you over is what happened.
There was a time we had band rehearsal.
Oh, this is going to be good.
And we were hungry, and there's a Domino's right next to where we had band rehearsal.
That's
and
convenient.
We got Domino's. But fun fact.
That's
Fun fact. That Domino's is actually an employee that works there.
Yeah.
I actually used to work with him, and man, this guy was a little cuckoo in the head.
Okay.
He would keep rocks at his station that he worked at that he said would give him spiritual power. He also
Nice.
told me that he would frequently go onto a website where people would take a bunch of NyQuil and then have discussions with God, apparently, and then they would write down, what God
said.
told them.
Yeah.
But that's about the closest thing I can think of. Hopefully that guy did not make our pizza because
It might have rocks in it.
Yeah.
That empower you.
or
you-
spirit rocks.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting that in a Domino's pizza, but you never know.
Yeah, or you might speak to God after eating that pizza.
NyQuil in the pizza. I think I'd be able to pick that up though.
Yeah, it's the blood of Christ. A lot of people don't know that. They've been getting it wrong in Catholicism all this time. They use wine, but it's really NyQuil.
It's really
Jesus was green on the
dextromethorphan
inside.
or whatever that.
Yeah, and
called.
sleepy. He's super sleepy. Hey, I'm Jesus. It's fine. That's
I
whatever.
know what dreams are.
That's our
made.
next EP title, Jesus Pizza, Speaking to God.
I'm not gonna lie, I did recently just have that flu thing, and having NyQuil at night was one of the best things about it.
It was one of the best things. So you were just drinking Surzip at night and
was-
dreaming about God.
It was the only thing I would look forward to. Like, being that sick, I was like, in like 3 hours, I could probably have 2 cups.
A whole bar. 2 cups is more than you're supposed to take.
2 of the, I know,
Well, it's really sick.
Point, dude.
And then I was like getting well enough, and I was gonna have some more one night when I was almost pretty well, and I was like, no, wait, you're fine. You don't need this.
That's
Stop.
called addiction.
I can stop anytime I want to.
Yeah, she's just like at the CVS order, and she has like 8 bottles of NyQuil. Like, it's fine. I'm just thirsty. And
Did they even allow you to do that?
What was your favorite thought on NyQuil? Did you have like a talk to God moment or anything like that? Did you write a song while you were on NyQuil?
That's how our whole album's written.
But I had a good answer to, like, my boyfriend was like, you can't drink alcohol, you're too sick.
Yeah.
So I was like, then why do they put it in the NyQuil if I can't drink it?
Right. I mean, that seems fair, right? It's got to be good for you.
More of that.
Yeah.
It's a secret ingredient.
Jack and NyQuil. So that is very interesting. Any other particular news about the pizza? I thought that was a rather abrupt story there. You ordered pizza, you got pizza.
I mean, it was either that or I could tell you how the bass drum at our rehearsal space, the head keeps breaking. That's happened like 2 or 3 times now. But that isn't one specific story. That's more like an ongoing problem that we should...
Which, that's weird because bass heads don't break that often, right?
Typically, no.
Yeah. So Ben's a bit of a lead foot, is what we're hearing.
Yeah, he kind of is. I mean, he does play with a double kick sometimes, which he has more of a bit of a metal background.
Sure.
From at least from what I've talked to him about his previous metal projects or his previous music projects. So that could be it, but it also could be that it's just
He's
some
cutting
shitty
it.
bass drum heads.
He's like, I'm gonna cut you, bass head.
That does reveal an interesting background. So at least half of our band is really big into different types of metal.
Oh,
Our
interesting.
music does not represent.
No, not at all. Okay, that's
Like
fascinating.
I'm a big fan of like black metal and atmospheric black metal and folk metal. Michael's
Folk metal's pretty interesting.
Mike's into some of the similar stuff.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of different stuff. I would probably say, things such as Catatonia.
Yeah.
That's kind of more of the metal that I'm into. Opeth, kind of with the little bit of a gothic twinge to it. But I've also listened to death metal and thrash metal, black metal. I mean, you name it, I've probably heard it some point in time.
How about
metal?
How about Far? What do we have for Far? Did one of you guys have a story for that before we close up?
I know it's not super far, but it's when we were recording our album, we were recording at he now lives in Arizona, but
that's Far.
Individual's name, yes. So now Far, but
yeah,
he used to live in I'm forgetting the name of the city, Bealton. His name is Thomas Bowen.
Okay.
And we basically recorded in his house. He had his own home studio, and he midway through the album sessions, which took about 3 or 4 months, he got a husky.
Okay.
And this husky was like all huskies, pretty hyperactive.
Yeah, they're great dogs.
I accidentally let him out at one point, and this was in the middle of Dane recording a take. So while Dane was recording a take with Thomas, and I forget who else was there, I basically was running around his entire neighborhood chasing this like white husky. And,
oh my god! So you let it out, not like in the house. You let it out into the neighborhood.
Into the neighborhood.
Oh my god!
And it's like a puppy.
And hyperactive puppy running through people's yards, up their porches and patios.
Wasn't even connected to a sled at the time.
No,
because that would have been awesome, right?
That'd have been great.
It was pulling you about.
But it basically ended with me tackling this dog, literally jumping and tackling him, and then carrying him back to the house.
Carrying a husky that you've just tackled all the way back to the house. And did anyone else find out about it, or did you just come in like slightly bloodied and they're like, what happened? And you're like, nothing, I'm good.
I mean, sort of like that. I guess I could be dramatic and say, yes, I was covered in blood. And it was just amazing. But it was like no one thankfully was like there to witness it. But so it's sort of funny coming like back inside the house with the husky, and then Dane's finishing his take being like, yeah, I just had to tackle this dog.
What did you do? Well, I laid down a track. Well, I tackled an entire dog. Yeah. And you're like, oh, well, you always have to one-up me, don't you? Thanks, Chris. I thought I did a great track. All right, that's all the time we have for this week. Thank you so much for coming. Do you guys have a good time?
Yeah.
Yeah? Woo! All right. Well, don't forget to see all of these lovely people. Distant Creatures is playing Saturday, February 24th at Epicure Cafe in Fairfax, Virginia. Go to www.distantcreatures.com to go check them out and more music and shows from them. Also this week, Thursday, February 22nd, Sam Cooper and the Sleepwalkers and Fuzz Queen at Black Cat in Washington, D.C. Obviously, Sam... Yeah.
And I'll also be playing in that too. So.
And you'll also be playing there. And our friends Surprise Attack are playing Silk City Diner and Bar and Lounge in Philadelphia, PA, Sunday, February 25th. Please like our post, follow us, retweet us, share the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We cannot do this without you. Do not forget to review us on Facebook, iTunes, and Google Play. Thanks to Kevin Evinger, McNally22, Justin Rogers with Metal Records, Chemical Records, and engineer Adam. Most of all, thanks to Distant Creatures for wasting a perfectly good hour with us. This has been another wasted hour, and if you just realized that, don't blame us. We warned you.